Hello, folks. My name is maxdrummy, and I'm a member of the NPDL Global team. I'd like to share some thoughts around the nature of deep learning with you today. But first, I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners and custodians of the land on which I'm recording today, the Wadawurrung people of the Kulin Nation, and to pay my respects to their elders, past and present. A couple of months ago, I was in a conversation with the leads of one of our partner schools, and they said, Max, we're really grappling with this question. What makes deep learning agile, adaptable, and relevant as landscapes shift so rapidly in this turbulent world? Great question. So I'd like to share some thinking as a response. It'll take two parts. First, looking at our global competencies and how they activate learning, and then a look at the role of the teacher as an activator. Let's think about context here. Let's think about how learners and learning are situated as we navigate a pandemic-influenced world, a turbulent world, but one that presents us with a great opportunity to reimagine learning. Dan Pink makes some astute observations about the learners of today and leaders of tomorrow here. For us, deep learning is about developing those attributes that Dan Pink mentions. We embrace them as our 6 global competencies. So, deep learning is the process of developing the 6 global competencies. And we'll take a look at those in more detail shortly. But before we dive into the competencies, let's look at our overall model of deep learning. At its heart is the explicit and intentional focus on the 6 C's. We do this by designing deep learning experiences that emphasize learning partnerships, the learning environment, leveraging digital and pedagogical practices, the teaching and learning strategies we use day on day. We surround those 4 elements with conditions that support deep learning, and we use a cycle of collaborative inquiry to structure the work that we do together. So let's continue to explore what deep learning is, but not just through my lens. Here we're going to take a look at a video clip from our partners in Uruguay who have been with us since the beginning of our deep learning journey. Our Uruguayan friends love a celebration of learning, and in early 2020, they brought over 5,000 teachers, learners, and leaders together to do just that. Celebrate deep learning in action. So as you watch this clip, listen to the different voices. What do you hear? What do you see? What do you feel? What's deep learning all about?
Bienvenidos al enlace 360.
Realmente impresionante el evento y lo que pinta esta instancia.
Se van a compartir experiencias que giran en torno al marco red.
Y vamos a verlo además de la voz de los docentes y de los estudiantes.
¿Cómo están? Buenísimo.
Buenas tardes para todos y todas.
Vengo a contarles una experiencia que realicé el año pasado.
Esto es parte de un proyecto que nosotros realizamos en la institución.
La tecnología ha sido el acelerador de las nuevas pedagogías.
Viendo que hay muchos profesores acá, quiero invitarlos a que tengan ese espacio distinto en su clase.
Dejar de ser el que tiene el saber a ser uno más del grupo.
Probablemente este sea el evento sobre educación más grande que hemos hecho en Uruguay.
Yo creo que la red global propone una utopía alcanzable. Es por eso que hay 600 centros que están trabajando en esto.
La red es una invitación a hacer las cosas de una manera diferente.
Con este horizonte del centro en las personas y el centro en los actores que cotidianamente desarrollan la educación.
Once teachers see what happens to their students, they won't want to go back because they see the impact.
Me abrió a otras cosas, nos dio la oportunidad de expresarnos también.
Dejar como que una marca, crear conciencia, sobre todo para los más chicos.
Nosotros creemos en ustedes. Ustedes son los agentes del cambio y nos muestran cada día que los cambios son posibles.
Yo creo que el futuro del aprendizaje empieza hoy y ustedes van a ser sus protagonistas. Gracias.
So, take a pause. Chat to your colleagues. Reflect on that clip. You might have noticed energy. The teacher's role both as instructor and learner. The joy, the passion, the engagement in learning. Take a moment or two to reflect or have that conversation. Let's now then look at how we create those outcomes that you saw in the Uruguay clip. As I mentioned earlier, our 6 global competencies are at the center of this work. You can see them outlined here. 4 will be immediately familiar: collaboration, communication, creativity, critical thinking. They've been on lists of 21st century skills for maybe 30 years, although it would be fair to say that over time, sustained or systemic efforts to foster those skills have been pretty rare. However, we know that the world of work is more than ever looking for young people that can collaborate effectively across time and space, who can communicate with precision, who can think critically and creatively. Our partners at the Independent Schools of New South Wales have in fact captured the voices of industry leaders talking directly to the need for these competencies. There's a link on the slide to a YouTube video if you're interested. So to these 4 competencies, we added 2 more. Character, that internal facing competency about learning how to learn, grit, tenacity, perseverance, resilience, empathy, compassion, integrity, really internal facing. And then the outward facing citizenship competency, looking at embracing that global perspective, diversity in world views, thinking about human and environmental sustainability, thinking about how we impact beyond ourselves. So these form the basis of our work. Growing these competencies in learners of any age is our goal. And what we see as a result of that is an impact across 2 domains: impact on self and impact on others, students as change makers. Here's where we begin to see the relevance and the agility of deep learning. The competencies allow us to situate learning to be more than just the acquisition of knowledge. More than just the acquisition of knowledge. Let's explore that further. I was in a school in Alpine School District in Utah, and they shared the idea that deep learning is about moving from knowing to doing to being. So deep learning helps learners take knowledge and put it into action to ultimately become better young people, better global citizens. We move through growing ourselves to impacting the world beyond ourselves. This picks up on Andreas Schleicher's quote that ran something like, "Success is no longer measured by what you know, but by what you do with what you know." And I would add, by the person you become and how you add value to our global community. Let's take a look at some learners and learning that activates knowledge beyond the classroom as students become change makers. The video clip I'm about to show came to us mid-2022, remains highly relevant. It's all about students seizing a moment to make a difference. it picks up on learning as authentic and relevant. As you watch the video, jot notes around evidence of any of the 6 global competencies, and also anything else that intrigues or stands out for you.
Students at Canada High School are doing what they can to support Ukrainian relief efforts.
As CTV's Jackie Perez reports, the fundraising initiative is led by their hearts and their love for the arts.
We had the Ukrainian colors, we have a little tag of message.
A heartfelt message that reads, "You're so courageous," completes Jude Reed's latest art piece, a tribute to those in Ukraine.
The big heart in the center to show the compassion, the love, all the feelings they have towards their own country.
His art, one of several pieces hanging in the halls of All Saints High School in Canada.
Everyone did their own one, makes it your own painting. The Ukrainian colors of their flag, the string wrapped around, to have that kind of that bond to bring everyone together.
Each student art piece is open for public bidding to help with humanitarian efforts in Ukraine, where the Russian military's invasion of the country has led to thousands of casualties and displaced millions.
I was just thinking, all the kids and little children who are probably panicking, and all the parents who don't know what to do with their kids.
Everyone's hurting, both the Ukrainians and the Russians, and it was really important to me to keep that to heart and just view everything in a compassionate way.
This art sale involves selling both physical art and virtual reproductions. Every single donation will receive a digital download, but only the top 70 donations will receive one of these art pieces, and it'll come with a certificate of authenticity. The bidding is open until April 28th. The money going to the Canada-Ukraine Foundation.
We've already had so many bids, and this has only been up for a few days.
Teachers say more initiatives like this not only helps those abroad, but ignites this generation to find creative ways to make a global difference.
So I like art personally. I want to do it as a career, and being able to do a project that actually will mean something, get to help someone, get some blankets to people in Ukraine, spread positivity, really, make the world a better place.
Jackie Perez, CTV News.
So, pause again to debrief with your colleagues or reflect for your own clarity. What was it that engaged these learners? How and why did the learning evolve beyond the classroom? Take some time for that conversation. So in order to meaningfully impact both self and others, we need to have a really shared understanding of what these competencies mean. We knew that the high-level descriptors that you saw on a previous slide would help begin to build that understanding with 2 or 3 bullet points under each competency. But we also knew it would take more detail to really bring the competencies to life. And so we created what we call deep learning progressions. These progressions are descriptors of what students' knowledge and skills look like as they develop the deep learning competencies. Let's take a look at one. Here you can see an example of our collaboration deep learning progression. At the top, there are the 3 or 4 statements that provide a definition of collaboration. Down the left-hand side, you can see that we break each of the competencies into 3 or 4 subdimensions. Here you can see working interdependently as a team and team-related skills. And then as we move across, we see 5 different levels from limited through to proficient, with a little arrow to the right of proficiency to indicate